Welcome to Weekly Digest, where we highlight the work of ministers of government as they push the administration's development agenda. This week ended on a high note with the government of Guyana in its capacity as chair of the Group of 77 in China hosting a virtual ministerial level meeting. His Excellency Dr. Mohammed Irfan Ali urged that the COVID-19 pandemic must not erode sustainable development gains. The President called for an integrated response to the threats of the COVID-19 pandemic, which has been wreaking havoc across the globe.
The COVID-19 pandemic has coincided with a series of unrepented hazards, storms, wildfires, floods, and droughts, all linked to unacceptable levels of global warming and climate change. The immediate task of containing, mitigating, and eventually eradicating the COVID-19 coronavirus must not force us to ignore the challenges of protecting the environment and the need for collective action.
President Ali reminded the grouping of Guyana's vulnerability to climate change and some of the effects it has had on the country. However, the head of state said his administration intends to be proactive in combating the phenomenon.
I wish to highlight the role of Guyana's low-carbon development strategy. The LCDS is aimed at transforming Guyana's economy to better deliver greater socio-economic benefits to our people by following a low-carbon development path, while at the same time mainstreaming climate resilience. As part of the LCDS and working in partnership with the Kingdom of Norway, Guyana was able to develop and implement one of the first national-scale payment for forest climate services through avoided deforestation and sustainable management of our forest resources. We remain committed to advancing the LCDS and to collaborate with international partners to expand our work on REDD+ and payment for forest climate and ecosystem services.
Vice President and United Nations Environment Programme's Champion of the Earth, Dr. Bart Jagdeo, said the widespread impact of COVID-19 has sidetracked many countries from achieving the SDGs. The VP said he hopes the effects of COVID-19 is not used to weaken finances towards climate change.
One of the primary purposes of this exercise is to say, notwithstanding the COVID-19 impact on our economies, given which, and we're hoping COVID-19 would have more of a short-term impact, at least from its medical aspects, would have a longer-term impact in relation to the economy. But we're faced with an existential threat here that will not go away. If anything, it's getting worse. If you look at the science coming out, some of the warmest years are now, and with its impact on the ecology, etc. So we cannot lose sight of this. And this is a powerful group, the G77 and China, 134 countries. And if we are going to go next year to the COP in Glasgow, this engagement today is to say that we have to find some level of solidarity in this group if we want to achieve higher levels of ambition and dedicated and adequate financing to avert to the excesses, to finance mitigation actions and adaptation actions. We can only do that through solidarity.
He said over the next year, the group must work to build a sense of solidarity so that countries with limited capabilities could receive assistance.
We need financing at scale now, not in the future, but now. And there are already pools of money where pledges have been made that we have to work as a group to unlock. And we probably will need the solidarity of the group and the bigger countries in this group to help us to do that.
Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, the Honorable Hugh Todd, who chaired the meeting, told the meeting that multilateralism was under stress as the world faces a war against an invisible enemy which has claimed the lives of millions.
We must overcome this menace if we are to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals and rise to the promise of the Paris Agreement. On both accounts, our world is dangerously off course. But COVID-19, even as it threatens, it also teaches. The link between health and sustainability has been sharply underlined, and we are learning by force of necessity that much more can be delivered even today with a smaller carbon footprint.
Picking up from last Saturday, October 24, government has committed to investing in research and development to improve health care.
This new facility, the Dr. Yusuf Prasad Education Center, would allow us to expand our current postgraduate training and provide the Institute with better accommodation for simulation labs and other modern teaching aids. Also, we intend to use this building as the teaching hub to provide various online training to doctors and other medical personnel in all of our regions. We want to take full advantage of the government's internet connectivity to ensure that training that is done here at this center can be accessed in every single regional hospital across this country.
Next, regional officials were given the charge to serve all citizens. His Excellency Dr. Mohammed Irfan Ali issued the directive at the swearing-in ceremony of the newly elected regional chairpersons and vice chairpersons.
The Regional Democratic Councils are really the second tier of government. But you're a very important bridge. You are really the bridge between the central government and the local government, the NDC. The RDCs are expected to be that important bridge that represents the interests of all the people in the various regions. That bridge that seeks to improve the lives and conditions under which the people of all the regions live under. I want to assure you that the central government will provide the necessary support to allow you and enable you to facilitate the development and upward movement of the people of our country in every single region.
On Tuesday, Minister of Public Works, the Honorable Bishop Wan Edgell, responded to a statement from China Harbour Engineering Corporation, the contractor engaged in the Chedijagan International Airport Modernization Project. In the statement, the company indicated that it is cooperating fully with the government of Guyana. In response, the minister said he welcomed the public position and looked forward to the delivery of the original contract that envisaged the 17,000 square meters of new facilities, terminal buildings, an extended runway, taxiways and aprons with capacity for 8 standing aircraft and facilities for 8 air bridges. Minister Edgell said he looked forward to a functional modern airport. Agriculture news this week. BUXTON Friendship farmers welcomed Minister of Agriculture, the Honorable ZULFIKAR Mustapha's plan for drainage and jobs. The minister engaged with farmers from those communities this week and committed to addressing several of their concerns, all aimed at revitalizing farming and creating jobs. During the engagement, farmers signaled their commitment and promised a fresh approach to agriculture. They said they have witnessed much positivity in the industry since the PPPC administration came into office.
I am Mr. Amo, the chairman for the BUXTON Friendly Grantee Co-op Society. This visit from the minister stemmed from a visit that was last Friday, and he promised to come today, which he did. And this from visit, and I think this would be a difference, bring a difference in the community. The issue that we have is concerning the waterway that we are not getting the cooperation in terms of the maintenance of the waterway. The water level is very low and the cost tremendous to the farm. And there's other issue that might need to raise it this afternoon. They might get other farmers that have other issues concerning agriculture.
Issue going on with the drainage system. We got to look at people going into farming. We have to get water. A lot of, within the last project, a lot of money come into the city and never complete the system of water. Because if you're planting, you must get water. This is the main thing you got to look at. Because if you don't get water, you will die out.
Very happy to be here this afternoon, and if you look around, you have all the senior staff from the Ministry of Agriculture that head agencies. They are here this afternoon with me. And this is a sign that I will not come here and take down issues, write down issues, and leave, when I leave, that those issues will become history. I will come here and we'll raise the issue, we'll work together, and I will come back here to ensure that those issues that you are raised this afternoon, that we take care of and we resolve those issues.
Another major airline is to be added to the mix of those plying the Ghana-US route. JetBlue was given the green light and will begin transporting passengers on December 11.
I think the entry into the market is always a good thing when you have new carriers. The winner in all of this is the flying public, the customer. Prices, I'm sure, will be reasonable because there are a number of other carriers on the route. We have Eastern Airlines, we also have Caribbean Airlines, and I'm sure American Airlines will soon be announcing their New York operation. At the moment, American will be flying out from Miami. That's the extent right now that we have their application for. But JetBlue will be coming. I was told they'll be flying their new 321 Neo aircraft, new technology, more space in the cabin. And all in all, I think it augurs well for Guyana.
Director General of the Ghana Civil Aviation Authority, Lieutenant Colonel Egbert Field. DG Field said this is the opportune time for JetBlue since there is an expectation that the Christmas season will translate to more air travel. The head of the aviation regulatory body outlined some of the processes JetBlue had to follow prior to receiving GCAA's permission.
The requirements for any airline entering into Guyana is very stringent, but they're in compliance with ICAO. The process involved the airline, and let's say in particular now JetBlue, when they applied, they supplied their application form. We looked at it. We also responded by informing them what documents has to be submitted to the authority. And these documents include documents showing their economic standing, their financial standing, which had to be submitted to our economic department. The security, what kind of security procedures and protocols they'll employ in coming to Guyana. So the security manuals had to be submitted to the authority, and that went directly to my security department. And then the airworthiness or the safety documents showing where they are registered, their air operator certificate, and a number of other documents.
DG Field said since the airline is already certified by the United States Federal Aviation Administration, GCAA conducted an evaluation of the airline's compliance with the standards set by the International Civil Aviation Organization, ICAO. DG Field commended the airline for its work ethic during the evaluation phase. JetBlue's flight will operate out of the Chedi Jagan International Airport, which is fully compliant with the standard operating procedures set out by the Aviation Authority in light of the COVID-19 pandemic. In some health news, last week the Ministry of Health responded to reports of a spike in COVID-19 cases in Region 1, specifically in the village of Guyana. This week, Minister of Health, Dr. Frank Anthony, updated the nation stating that increased COVID-19 testing was being done in the region and in Guyana village. Dr. Anthony said health teams have ramped up retrieval of samples from persons who are showing signs of COVID-19 and those who have been exposed to someone who tested positive. Sanitation teams have also been spraying the homes of persons who tested positive or those who may have been exposed to the disease and advising them on quarantine and isolation methods within their homes. Minister Anthony said he was hopeful the situation at Guyana would be under control within 2 weeks or so. The village entered a 14-day lockdown on Sunday. Still in Region 1, government began Phase 2 of its print package distribution in secondary schools in the Matakai sub-region of Burima-Waini to benefit. The Education Ministry has been providing printed materials to learners in the hinterland and riverine communities as part of a comprehensive plan to minimize learning losses during the COVID-19 pandemic. District Education Officer Mr. Marty D'Souza said the process has been ongoing in phases for primary and secondary schools. Still in education, after several delays due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the University of Guyana, UG, welcomed approximately 9,000 students, both from the Turkine and Tain campuses, for the 2020-2021 academic year. During the virtual orientation, UG Chancellor Professor John Edward Green congratulated the batch, inclusive of 3,000 new registrants, for their endurance amid the pandemic. Vice Chancellor Professor Paloma Mohammed reminded students of the university's 2040 blueprint, which seeks to ensure that every household across the nation has at least one university graduate. More news this week: the Ministry of Housing and Water is exploring plans for better water services to enhance the lives of residents in Batavia and Carroll in the Cayuni-Mazaruni area, Region 7. Minister of Housing and Water, the Honourable Colin Crowell, together with the Guyana Water Incorporated GWI Director of Operations, Mr. Dwayne Sheku, and other GWI representatives visited both communities last weekend and outlined plans for the area during a series of meetings. The recommendations from the GWI assessments are expected to be provided as soon as completed. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Brigadier Retired Mark Phillips has outlined some of the government's plans to diversify the energy sector to end the scourge of blackouts that has plagued the nation for years. In an interview, Brigadier Retired Phillips said the government has sought to address the challenges facing the Guyana Power and Light Incorporated (GPL) from its first day in office. One of the first steps taken was to establish power purchasing agreements (PPAs) with local entities to fill in the gaps for the present shortfall of electricity. Some more news. The Office of the President has announced that Attorney General and Minister of Legal Affairs Honorable Maubir Anil Nandlal and Attorney at Law Timothy Monroe Jonas will be appointed as senior counsel. The appointment was made by President Ali and took effect from October 30. A statement from the President's office said their appointment was based on their demonstrable knowledge and of learning in the law and on the account of their exemplary erudition and diligence in the practice of the law, and by virtue of their distinguished contributions to the growth and development of Guyana's jurisprudence and constitutional democracy. On Thursday, the Guyana Water Incorporated GWI said the new $48 million well currently being drilled at Diamond East Bank, Demerara, will be completed by December. The well is the third to be established in the compound of the Diamond Water Treatment Plant. It is being drilled by a Brazilian company, Fox Trading. Chief Executive Officer of GWI, Mr. Sheikh Baksh, said the project forms part of the government's 5-year vision to improve the quality of water provided to the public. That's it for this week's Weekly Digest. Remember, for more news, you can check out our website dpi.gov.gy. See you again next week.